Hey everyone! I have been getting the question a lot, how do I get my twins to sleep as well as they do at night? So my twins are 11 weeks and we have been doing very well with sleeping since the get-go. I talked a little bit about this before, but they lately have been regressing as far as naps go during the day. So that's kind of causing a little kink in the system as far as their daytime goes, but our night times are still really, really well. Um, Only at the beginning when we had to feed them every 2 hours were we waking them up to feed them, and that was because they they lost 10% and 9% of their body weight when we were in the hospital. So the pediatrician and they didn't gain it back. Even at our weight check appointment, they still weren't gaining, and even at 1 month, they still weren't gaining at the rate that they would like to see. So I credit that a lot to the fact that I am not nursing. I'm breastfeeding, but I'm exclusively pumping. And I feel like when you're exclusively pumping, and believe me, by no means did I want to exclusively pump. And I just want to clarify that because I've always wanted to breastfeed. It has been my dream to be a mom and to breastfeed, and it still breaks my heart that I cannot breastfeed. For reasons on my body, and also because the babies just were not latching and sucking and getting what they needed. And so we met with the lactation consultant and we weighed the babies after we fed them, and we did the whole 9 yards, and we attempted, and there was lots of tears and lots of screaming, and it just worked out for our family for me to exclusively pump, especially since I'm not going back to work. I can continue to do it regularly to try and make sure that they are getting mostly breast milk. But I know that that can kind of play a part in sleeping. So, we were told when we left the hospital if we were going to supplement to give them formula at night so they sleep through the night. This formula takes longer for the body to digest. To be honest, my kids, I think, digest breast milk and formula the same. I mean, they're hungry pretty much on a regular schedule, so whether they have either or. So I don't really know how much that really impacts our children. But basically, what I wanted is to be on a schedule when I left the hospital, and that was my goal. And it was attained because I stayed on the nurses' butts, except for the last night, which is a whole long story that I've talked about. But since then, we've been on a pretty regular schedule. So obviously, when we got home, we were waking them up to feed them. And then slowly we started backing off. And we backed off a feed in the morning, a feed at night, and we kind of just went with it. And then one night we just said, you know what? No alarms. Let's just see how these babies do. And they did really well. So they eat anywhere between 2 and 4 hours, depending on sometimes, 2 to 6 hours because of the nighttime. I think that they sleep well at night because they cut back their feedings during the day, so they eat every 2 to 3 hours during the day, which is kind of stressful on me because they're constantly eating. At least that's what it feels like, so I can't imagine me breastfeeding them, but I have to pump and feed and pump and feed and pump and feed, and that's all I do all day long, really. Let's be honest here. So I think that credits a lot to why they sleep through the night is they eat a lot during the day. So by the time we hit about 10:30, they've already had 24 to 30 ounces, and 30 is the max. So they're full. And so what we do is the naps during the day are just a mess right now, so I won't even get into those. But we'll usually eat dinner when my husband gets home, and they'll nap for about 2 hours at night, and they'll wake up. They're usually awake between 8 and 10 at night. And during that time frame, we feed them. We have to give them their medicine because they're both on basically like a Zantac. Give them their medicine. We do if we have to do bath time, we do bath time. And then they go right down. They go right down. We don't have to do anything. They go to sleep. We don't have to rock them. We just lay them down. We give them their binky, and they just fall asleep. So then they'll wake up. I wake up at 1 o'clock every night to pump. I'm not giving out my middle of the night pumping I'm staying home. I don't have to work the following day. I might as well get up and pump in the middle of the night, and get that extra 7 ounces that I could use. That's a feed for each of them during the day. So I get up around 1. Sometimes they're screaming already at 1 o'clock and they want to eat. Other times they wait until 3 o'clock. Or in this case, this morning they fed at like 2:30, and then so they slept from, I think they went down at 9:30 to 2:30, and then fed them at 2:30, and then they woke back up at 5, and we fed them again, and then we went back to bed until 9. So um, I think my husband, being on the schedule he's on, he is up at 4, and that's usually when we feed them in the morning. So their body usually wakes up at that time, which is great because it's nice to get them fed early, and then we go back to sleep for a little bit. And I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of nice. I will, if we can get through dropping that 1 or 2 o'clock feed, that would be great. Which some nights we do. We go through the whole night and they don't get up, but for the most part, they do get up around 1 o'clock. But we're only feeding them a little bit. So the plan is, I read last night to like go back with how many ounces you're giving them so that they eventually don't, it's not a pattern. I think right now they get up around that time as a pattern. So last night was the first night where we dropped an ounce. So we'll drop an ounce for a couple of days down to 3 ounces and see how they do. And then after that, we'll drop down to 2 ounces and see how they do, and hopefully they'll end up sleeping through the night. But I mean, my babies have slept like this since the beginning, so I really can't complain that they're still getting up. I know some babies sleep through the night right, off the bat, and it's amazing that they can sleep for 12 hours. My babies aren't that way. They're built like my husband and and I mean, I love sleep, but I can't sleep for 12 hours. So that's kind of like their sleeping pattern, I guess. We haven't really done anything crazy. I think again, the top reasons why they sleep well at night, they feed closer together during the day, get most of their ounces during the day, so they don't need to get up in the night. Also, we were in a great routine with napping, and we weren't sleeping all day, and we were stimulating them most of the day. So they were on the activity mat, they were playing with each other in the pack and play, and doing stuff to keep them awake. Whereas now I'm having trouble putting them down. But I think a lot of that has to do with the reflux that they just got diagnosed with. So they do sleep in rock and plays right now, which I'm not a big fan of. But with the reflux, it's like calming my husband down for the moment. So I want to try this weekend to transition back to the co-sleeper in the bedroom so that we can eventually, by 4 months, transition to their cribs. I am no way, shape, or form ready for them to leave the bedroom. There's just no point. My bedroom is huge. There's no reason for them to go to the nursery right now, and the nursery's not even done, so there's no point in putting them in their cribs. But they do sleep better together, and they do sleep better swaddled. We were not swaddling them for a little while, and we found that they'd wake themselves up more. So you can continue to swaddle, I think, up until I think they said by like 4 to 5 months is when they start to grow out of it. But right now they still do that thing when they get scared and they wake themselves up. So being swaddled will calm them down and lessen that. So yeah, I mean that's where we're at as far as sleeping goes, and I do feel great that we do get sleep. I'm not gonna, lie. It is amazing, but I can't wait to sleep through the night. Whether I'm done pumping or they sleep well, I just cannot wait to sleep. I have not slept through the night, oh my gosh, since like I was 5 months pregnant. Probably before that, way before that. Probably like when I was 3 months pregnant. I mean, it's really chatty. I didn't really give you any advice on sleeping because every baby is different. And, some babies are formula fed, some babies are breastfed, some babies are, like pacifiers, some don't like pacifiers, some like swaddling, some don't like. I think it depends on baby to baby. But if there's any tips I can give you, it's just to stimulate them during the day, get them on a schedule during the day at least, and hopefully they won't have to feed throughout the whole night, and that will give you a little bit of a break. That's pretty much the advice I can give you. Not that I am in any way, shape, or form a doctor, or it's just from experience with my twins. But again, every single baby is different, and I'm learning that just with my two. They're completely opposite babies. And my husband's always like, well, why is he and she's not? And I'm like, they're two different babies. You cannot compare them. I'm constantly telling him that. So that's where we're at as far as sleeping goes. I can't wait to tell you guys when they sleep through the night, and hopefully it will be soon. But I am a-okay with them getting up once a night. So yeah, so I will see you guys soon.